On Tuesday, the trial against Diddy continued with the first day of the third week. The hearing started at 8:30 a.m., and the judge made a few announcements, including the planned schedule for the coming trial days. Around 9 a.m., Diddy and the jury entered the courtroom, and the next witness was called to the stand, Capricorn Clark. She was also a former assistant of Diddy and first explained how she got into the music industry. She said she started working at Def Jam Records in 1996, later moved to Death Row Records, and in 2004 joined Bad Boy Records, where she stayed, with short interruptions, until 2020. Until 2006, she was Diddy's personal assistant and then worked for him in various other roles. When asked by the prosecution, she described her first day working for Diddy. She said Diddy took her and his head of security to Central Park at night and told her he hadn't known she had previously worked for Suge Knight. He told her he would kill her if anything happened. She said she knew nothing about the conflict between Diddy and Suge and that a friend of hers had a child with Suge. When asked if that was the only time Diddy had threatened her, she clearly said no and explained that she often witnessed Diddy threatening others as well, including 50 Cent. She described being in an elevator with Diddy and his then-manager after an MTV event where 50 Cent was present. In the elevator, Diddy said he had a huge problem with 50 and, looking serious, told his manager, "You know I'm into guns, man." After the hearing, 50 Cent posted on Instagram, "Oh my God, little Diddy wants to kill me. I have to go into hiding. I think I'll hide out at the playoff game tonight. LOL. Typical 50 Cent. Back to the trial. The witness was asked about an incident in 2004 involving stolen jewelry. She said Diddy gave her the jewelry to safeguard during a trip, but at the airport she realized all the jewelry was missing. She was then interrogated for 3 hours by a security officer and had to take a lie detector test the next day. In court, she said, "Diddy told me that if I failed the test, he would throw me into the East River." She said she was forced to take more tests over 5 days. She told the court that working for Diddy caused her stress-induced hair loss and that she worked from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. for an annual salary of $55,000, leaving her with just 3 hours a day for herself. Like Diddy's other assistants, it was her job to prepare his hotel rooms. These stays usually lasted 3 to 4 days, and she had to ensure medications or even IV drips were available in the room, especially for Cassie to recover after sessions. She also spoke of a toiletry bag she had to bring everywhere for Diddy. It contained drugs, baby oil, and usually his camera. She said she also took Molly once a week. Then she described a 2010 situation where Diddy asked her why she didn't have a boyfriend. At that moment, Cassie entered the room, and Diddy said, "Come, I'll show you something." He started giving Cassie commands like, "Sit down, stand up, turn around," and she followed them exactly. He then told the assistant, "See, you women don't do things like this, and that's why you don't have a man." Diddy frequently asked her for drugs and medication, which she had to obtain and carry under her own name. Over the years, she also had to count money for Diddy, usually stored in his safes. The largest amount was reportedly $100,000. She then described another incident from 2006 when she left Diddy's house for an hour without permission. He called her in a rage and shouted that she had to return immediately. The next day, annoyed, she told Diddy during a conversation that she hated working for him. As she turned to leave, he allegedly ran after her and shoved her hard, yelling, "If you hate it here, then get out of my house." She broke into tears in court and said one of the security guards intervened and stopped him. The next day, she quit her job as his assistant, but soon returned, this time working for his brand, Sean John. Later, she became creative director for Cassie and discovered that Cassie was in a relationship with Kid Cudi. Knowing how jealous Diddy could be, she tried to help Cassie by giving her a new phone to hide the affair. On December 22, 2011, she heard loud knocking at her door. When she opened it, Diddy stood there, visibly upset, with a gun in his hand and said, "Get dressed, we're going to get Kid Cudi." She tried to convince him not to go, but he insisted. She got in the car and drove to Cudi's house. When they arrived, she stayed in the car and called Cassie. Diddy returned and forced her to show her call history. When he saw she had called Cassie, he made her call again and say, "Diddy won't let me leave. You have to come to his house." She then went to pick Cassie up. Once it was all over, they returned to Diddy's house, where he violently attacked Cassie while the security guards again did nothing. Shorty May. The lawyer then addressed her statements about the 2012 incident that led her to quit and revealed she had met with Diddy again just last year because she wanted to work for him again, even though investigations against him were already underway. Diddy's lawyer asked if she had told Diddy at that meeting that he wouldn't be in this mess if she were still around. She confirmed it. Then the defense showed a text message she allegedly sent Diddy in 2021, saying she had been in love with him before she worked for him. Capricorn Clark said she couldn't remember that and didn't recognize the number the message came from. She said she only liked and respected him as a friend. The lawyers then revisited the lie detector test. When asked how long she was hooked up to the machine, she said from 10 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m., but that she had never reported the incident to HR. At 12:30 p.m., there was a lunch break before the cross-examination continued at 1 p.m. The lawyer asked how Cassie had changed over the years. Clark said Cassie went from a sweet model to an argumentative girlfriend. According to Clark, Cassie lost interest in music starting in 2009. When asked whether Diddy still supported her, she said a lot of money was invested in Cassie. Through Diddy, she had access to top producers, artists, stylists, and more. People who could make someone a star. Then they discussed the Kid Cudi incident. The defense showed an email Clark sent Diddy 3 weeks after the alleged event, acting as if nothing had happened. The defense asked if she had gone with Diddy voluntarily that night to stop him from doing something stupid. She denied it and said he had forced her. He hadn't pointed the gun at her, but he had been waving it around the whole time. She didn't know how Diddy gained access to Cudi's house, only that she had hoped Cudi wouldn't be home. When she called Cassie, Cassie said she was with Cudi at the time, and Cudi was shocked and asked if Diddy was really at his house. About an hour later, a black SUV showed up at Capricorn Clark's home again. Diddy was inside, even more upset, and told her she had embarrassed him. He reportedly yelled, "You made me look weak in front of her." Clark said she was afraid, and that moment convinced her she had to distance herself from both Diddy and the entire situation. But even then, she felt trapped. The court also heard that after her final departure from his circle, Diddy allegedly continued to control her reputation in the industry. According to her testimony, he told key figures in music and media that she was unstable and untrustworthy, making it nearly impossible for her to find new work. She described being iced out from jobs she was qualified for, with no explanation, except for the lingering shadow of Diddy's influence. During redirect questioning from the prosecution, Clark was asked why she would consider working for Diddy again in 2023 after everything that had happened. She paused before saying, "I wanted closure. I needed him to acknowledge what he had done." She also clarified that she hadn't actually accepted a job. She had just agreed to meet him. The prosecutor pressed further, asking if she feared retaliation for testifying. She answered, "Of course, but this is bigger than fear now." Her voice reportedly cracked as she looked over at the jury. Before the court adjourned for the day, the prosecution requested a short delay in the next witness testimony to allow time for scheduling. The judge agreed, reminding the jury not to discuss the case outside the courtroom. As the session ended, several spectators, including reporters, noted how shaken Clark appeared after her hours-long testimony. Her account of psychological manipulation, isolation, and systemic abuse drew comparisons to previous testimonies in the case, painting a broader picture of Diddy's alleged behavior over 2 decades. Outside the courtroom, neither Diddy nor his legal team gave a statement to the press. However, an anonymous source close to the defense claimed they were confident Clark's testimony would be easily discredited by future witnesses. Meanwhile, social media erupted with commentary. Fans, former associates, and public figures weighed in, some supporting Clark, others expressing skepticism, and many simply stunned by the level of detail and consistency emerging across witnesses in the case. And as the trial moves forward, all eyes remain on what new revelations may surface, and whether the mounting stories will finally crack the carefully managed image of one of hip-hop's most powerful moguls. Next week, another high-profile witness is expected to take the stand.